What is going on, guys? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Welcome to the live Friday with Caroline and Nick. Nick is going through some technical difficulties. He'll be on in a moment here. I just want to make sure that everybody can see me and hear me, and we'll get rocking. I want to get your questions on here and get to answering. All right, sweet. Got some viewers on here. How's it going, guys? How's everybody been? Where's everybody from? I want to see where we have all of our viewers coming in here from. I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona. Where is everybody? Where are my East Coast peeps at? Who we got on here? Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, guys. Nick will be on here in a moment. Tacoma, Washington, what's up? There we go. We got Tech on here. What's going on? I'm feeling much better. Let me tell you guys, COVID is no joke. It comes in waves, that's for sure. There's Kimberly. What's up? North Dallas. DC, it's cold. I'm sure it is cold there. What's up, Bill? We got somebody in Colorado. DC, there we go. How far are you guys from Alexandria? I've heard Alexandria is beautiful. Los Angeles. AH is from Los Angeles, City of Angels. Yeah, guys. So I had COVID last week. I'm clear now. I don't have any symptoms, and the nurse told me I was good to go. Where I went to urgent care, but that stuff knocks you out. The migraines were the worst part, that's for sure. Nashville, freezing here, guys. I am from the Midwest. I'm born and raised from Indiana, and I moved down to Florida. And now I'm out here in Phoenix. You guys need to get out of those cold states. Go somewhere where it's nice. Maryland? Holy cow. No way. There we go. Nick's on here. We got all of our Wi-Fi issues figured out. What's up, Nick?
Yo, what up?
What up, what up, what up? So, guys, not too far from Alexandria. It's dope. Yeah. Tech will have to link up, and I'll have to hook you up with my buddy who has a bike shop out there. Maryland. We got a bunch of Maryland people in here. Sweet. Well, guys, so welcome. If this is your first time here, congratulations, you just made it to the best YouTube channel out there. We work for Pace and Cody at American Home Offers. Nick and I we work together on the dispo and JV department. Nick does all the JV stuff. Nick really taught me majority of what I know. If you guys have like questions, Nick actually goes out of his way on the creative financing with Pace Morby Facebook page. And if you guys want, like, if you need help with anything, Nick and I will jump in there and help you. Just tag us. But if you're looking to find a buyer on a property, we can help you with that. If you need help running comps on a property, we can do that. Nick has even gone out of his way to talk to sellers for people. So anything that you guys need, you guys can come to us and ask us questions. We are really all about go-giving and helping and giving back. So that's really big for us. But the goal today is to answer questions you guys have. And at the end of this, so we are going to pull a list live off of BatchLeads. We're going to give you 1,000 records for free that you guys get to skip trace. So whoever asks the best questions, we will pull you up, and actually we can pull anybody up. I'll put the link here in the chat in a little bit so you guys can come up here on the stage with us and talk to us and have questions. But first and foremost, Nick, kind of give us a rundown of what you do. I know we've gone over this, most of our lives, but tell us what you do so everybody knows.
Yeah, so I work with other wholesalers, people out there in different markets, and I help them kind of walk through some of the most difficult challenges on getting a deal, selling a deal, and really I'm just an extension of their business, right? A lot of people start off and they're just focusing on acquisitions. Obviously, that's the bread and butter, and they don't have time to focus on disposition. So I'm an extension of their business where I essentially walk them through the process, help them sell their deals.
Awesome. So, and then what I do, guys, is I actually deal with our buyers. So on our end, I'm talking to our buyers. I'm figuring out when we get a property under contract. Like currently, we have a property in Jacksonville that has foundation issues. So we're going to go back to our seller on that, but I get to talk to the buyers and they get to tell me, yeah, this isn't going to work for us. This is more work than it had entailed, or, hey, I'm looking for properties here. I actually have buyers that text me all the time saying, hey, I'm hungry. I need properties. What can you send me? So I'm the one that has my fingers on the pulse on trying to figure out where our buyers are and what they're looking for. And I try and build our buyer profile and make sure that we find the properties that will work best for them. So that's kind of what I do. And I comp properties as well. We have, 30 VAs actually cold calling and locking up deals for us from VA Hub. So I was just on Slack. We use Slack to communicate with our VAs. I was on Slack and I was comping some properties for them out here in Phoenix. So Nick and I both comp properties and we sell them. And Nick is really the one that talks to, our JV partners, which can be wholesalers or people that are struggling with creative deals. And we help a lot of students with closing deals as well. So if you're a sub-2 student, you've probably had help from Nick or myself with a deal. I also run the daily dial every day in the sub-2 mentorship at 5 a.m. So I know today we had a great one, which is just role play. The biggest thing for me, I actually role play with Nick. We have a pool table at the office. So sometimes when I was getting started, I'd say, hey, let's go through a role play scenario. And we play a, I don't even know what you call it, around the pool. And Nick would always smoke me. Today I beat Nick twice, so I'm getting better. But yeah, role playing I think is really important. So those are the things that I like from what I get to do every day. So if you guys are not role playing with somebody, definitely link up with somebody in the creative financing with Pace Morby page and say, hey, go on there and say, I want to get better. I want to start closing deals and being better on the phone with my sellers. Who wants to role play with me? Because there's great opportunity in there. But without further ado, I'm going to throw this link up here. If anybody has any questions, you guys can join us. And hit this link here so we can get you on. Boom. There it is. I just put it on live. Before we go too crazy, Nick, how do we want everybody to contact you? Is it best if we go through our Shorby link or would you like them to text you?
You guys can text me. I'll go ahead and post my phone number here.
Okay, yeah, post that phone number and I'll throw it up on the chat for everybody. Guys, let's see how many text messages we can get Nick in this live right now. This is his personal cell phone. It goes to an iPhone. So you guys can literally shoot him a text and we'll probably see him either look down on his phone or you can just talk to him and bother him. Shoot him. If you guys can shoot, who can send Nick the best GIF today? That's what I want to see. Who can send Nick the best GIF? All right. So anyways, let's get to this. I threw the link in there. If you guys click on that StreamYard, if you're on Facebook, make sure that you click that so you can see your name. Let's get into answering some questions. So a question that I have for you, Nick, what are you looking for when you comp a property? What do you start with?
Yeah, so the first thing I do is I look for properties in the same subdivision. I want to be as close and as similar, right, within the same subdivision. So I want to be as close as possible. After that, I typically stay within 5 years of the year built. So from there, then I obviously look at what the higher end property is selling for on the high end of ARV. Most recent comps, I try to stay within 6 months, and then I go back 12 months and on and on. So I'd rather go back out, further in time just to stay within the same subdivision because I want to see trends within that subdivision. So yeah, I mean, those are my basic parameters, right? When I'm looking for comps is just staying within the same subdivision and same year built. And then I also go to like Google Maps or Google Street View and make sure that they're similar style properties. Right, I'm comping 2-story houses to 2-story houses and 1-to-1, of course. So yeah, I just want to be as close as possible.
Awesome. And when you are comping, so when you look for those trends, how far back do you go? Do you go back 3 years? What is a good range to be within?
The most I'll go back is like 24 months.
24 months. Okay, good to know. And then my next question is going to be here. I'll just throw this up here. Is comping land any different, Nick?
It is. So there's multiple ways to comp land. I'll try to, like, for example, vacant residential land in a subdivision. I'll try to comp it with other vacant land in the same subdivision. So with that, you can go back as far as you want. I just want to see what other lots sold for. So similar to comping houses, right? Same size lot. I'll comp it with the same size lot. Different factors, of course, make land more valuable. So when you're talking to sellers that have vacant land in a subdivision, you want to see if it's set up for utilities. That's huge. A lot of people don't really think to ask that. And is it in a flood zone, right? You want to check to see if it's in a flood zone because certain properties that are in a flood zone, it's just you can't build on it. So those are important questions. But yeah, I basically approach it the same way I do with houses.
Great. Love that. Awesome. One other thing, guys, while we're on here, I know we have quite a few people that keep joining us. If you think this live could be helpful for anybody, feel free to shoot out to your homies, your friends, tag them, tell them, hey, get in on this live because we're going to give away 1,000 records at the end of this hour. And really, whoever asks the best questions is going to have that opportunity. So there's no secret sauce to it, but really, I want to give as much value as we can as possible. Another question I have for you, Nick, would be really, when you're comping properties, what else are you looking for? Do they have can they be 2 stories or do they have to be the same story? Like, can they be different stories? What when you're comping, what is the main, like, what are some hiccups that you found when you're getting started comping, and what has been helpful for you when you've learned to comp better, I guess?
So if you're off in your numbers, it's always the smallest little details. So you just have to be very, very detailed. Starting out, you might take 30 minutes to comp a property, which is totally fine. You get more efficient, but yeah, I would comp same stories, same size lots, typically within 2,500 square feet of the lot size. And I typically say within 200 square feet of the actual square footage of the property. So yeah, 5 years built, those other parameters, and you just want to basically compare apples to apples, right? You don't want to squeeze something that's not comparable and force it to be comparable. So just be as detailed as you can. Again, if you need to go back in time just to find something that's similar, then do that, right? Do that instead of trying to force something that's more recent to be a comp when you know it shouldn't be.
Got it. Great. And then I just see this questions up here now too. Can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you sub to the properties which need full rehab? Lakeisha Ventures asked this.
I would typically say no, you wouldn't want to, because again, think about what are the benefits of sub two, right? Whether you're taking it down yourself or whether you're assigning it to somebody else, the benefits of sub two are low entry, right? It's the low entry in terms of how much cash you got to bring to the closing table. A house that's worth $100,000, instead of bringing $100,000 to the closing table, you have to bring maybe 20 or 25. That's the biggest benefit. So if it needs a full rehab, I would look at other options like maybe innovation, or see if you can get the seller down in price, because typically that's not ideal for sub two.
Awesome, great. And then I see Jesus Hernandez just asked this: how do you comp a property which is way bigger than the rest of the properties in the neighborhood? So we'd go into value adds, correct?
Yeah, so if it's something like that, you would see how you can add square footage. Like if it's the actual square footage of the property, how can you add square footage to that property to make it the same size? So that's what I would always look for is how can you do that? But of course, again, go back in time, see if you find something similar. It doesn't matter if it's 2-3 years down, I would try to start with that. So just go back in time, see if you can find anything close to it.
Great, thank you for answering that. And then another one that I have thrown up here will be, what's your checklist to determine if you will wholesale, buy and hold, or fix and flip?
Yeah, so we always go wholesale first. Typically for anything in Arizona, if it's something that we acquire internally or somebody sent it to us, for fix and flip, I'll start with that. We typically try to make 20 to 25K on an exit. So for example, if we're spending 25K, we want to make 25K, right? 25K on the rehab, we want to make 25K. And, in the past, historically, if we spend like 40K, we'll typically make 40K or above. So we just want to get, a good return on our investment, but that's really our only parameter is, can we make at least 25K on a flip? For wholesale, typically our underwriting process is we need to find the highest and best comp in the area. We immediately subtract what the closing cost is, as well as the realtor commissions when somebody sells it, because of course, wholesale is going to be fix and flip for another investor. So that's 8% off the top. And then we subtract our rehab estimate. Then we subtract our buyer fees. So buyers typically want to make the same amount that we do, which is 25, 30K. If they're spending 30K in rehab, typically they want to make 30K in profit. And then from there, basically once you subtract all those numbers, then you determine what a good wholesale fee is. So if you're able to get all those numbers kind of discounted on the highest and best ARV, and you're still able to make 15 to 20K, whatever you're shooting to make, then that's basically how we determine a wholesale. And for buy and holds, because we do creative financing, buy and hold is really just anything that we can get on sub two or seller finance that has at least $400 in cash flow is typically what we look for.
Great. So now we're getting some more questions on here. I love this. Let's see this. So remember, guys, whoever asked the best questions, not just one, questions, we're going to pull that free record, but we're going to pull 1,000 records for you. So Shane just asked this question. Are there certain types of properties you steer clear from? Reverse mortgages. Yeah,
reverse mortgages. I've had a lot of people that have sent me, and this is recently, I've learned this a long time ago, but people have sent me mobile home properties that are in a mobile home park. You want to steer clear away from those because you're buying an automobile. You're not buying actual real estate that doesn't come with the land. So I would stay away from anything in a mobile home park. But other than that, I mean, we look at anything and everything, right? We really love mobile homes with owned land, so we focus on that a lot. In terms of like fix and flip, we don't really do too many condominiums or townhomes or anything like that. However, we will do them, but we typically just look for single family mobile homes. That's pretty much our bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. And then Nick, just kind of go into detail of why we don't purchase, in those mobile home parks. It's because you have to pay that lot rent. There's not really going to be cash flow if you're going to be renting it, correct?
Well, it's not necessarily the cash flow, right? Because oftentimes there are cash flow there. The thing is you're basically owning a mobile, right? You're not owning the land. And everybody knows that real estate is just a dwelling and the value is always in the land, right? That's what you physically own is the land, and that's where the value comes from. So with like a mobile home and a mobile home park, you're paying the lot rent. Yes, it can cash flow, but you actually set it up with the DMV. You're not setting it up with, with the county. It's not assessed like it would be, in an actual like real estate transaction. So it's just totally different. So I would totally stay away from those unless you're into that kind of thing,
Gotcha. And then just touch on reverse mortgages. Why do we try and stay away from those?
So I haven't had too much experience with reverse mortgages. I just know from Pace and his experience, he doesn't like dealing with them. So of course, me being on his team, I don't deal with them. But I don't know a whole lot about it, right? It's just one thing that I've kind of got passed down from him.
Yeah. From what I can understand with the reverse mortgages, you can't really buy it for cash because they are taking that money out. So it's just something that we try and stay away from. But I see Tech is trying to come up here live with us, so let's add him to the stream. What's up, Tech? How's it going, man?
What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon.
What you got, man? You have a question for us, or what's going on?
Yeah, I figured hop on, say hi, and try to get my face out there. Not pretty, but whatever.
Love it.
Yeah.
What you got,
How you guys doing? How you doing, Nick?
Good. How's it going?
Good, man. Hey, so to both of you, I'm JVing on a deal with another sub-2 student. I was talking to the seller, ran into a little problem I didn't really have a solution to. Basically, we're trying to do innovation with the seller. He basically came out and said, long story short, he's like, what happened? So I guess to give you a little detail on the property. He has 2 houses on the property, house across the street, same about half acre. This is in Northern Virginia. House across the street basically sold for like $450. Since he's got 2 on his property and renting out, his cash flow and everything's good. He doesn't care about that. But I basically said, look, we'll keep your mortgage in place, take it over. We're probably going to demo the homes and build something brand new. And homes there, like on either side of him, are over 1.3 million. So we knew we could, get that done. But basically his hang up was, what happens if you demo, go through it all, and halfway through something screws up, you guys get in a fight, construction goes bad, whatever, like something gets stopped and I have nothing, what do I say to him if he's like,
what is
in the middle of
construction so that you don't end up leaving him hanging? Yeah,
exactly. Like what's his I guess his out. He's like, well, I'm gonna have to take you guys to court and all this stuff, and like I'm gonna have a piece of land that's halfway done and all this junk. So
I got you. I would go into the same kind of thing that we've learned from Pace, and it's I'm thinking immediately the first thought that comes in my head is the servicing company. So that they're like, well, what if you don't pay? And I kind of go into, and this is something I learned from Pace and from Reese, like most of our sellers actually want us to default on our loans so they can get the property back all fixed up. We've never defaulted because we want to keep these properties for the tax appreciation. As long as you're upfront and honest with your seller, I don't think you should have a problem with it. But just say, this has never happened. We're partners in this scenario. We are actually in here to do good business, and we want to close this, we want to fix this property up and close it and sell it, or whatever your end game would be, probably demoing it and building $1 million house on it. So it really goes with how you carry yourself on these phone calls. That's what I would say. Nick, what would you say in this instance?
Yeah, so this is an innovation situation. The mortgage, you guys aren't closing on it. Who's paying the mortgage? Is that you guys or him?
Oh yeah, we'd be taking over his mortgage, and he was cool with that. And then basically, again, the whole hangup was like, he's like, I started talking to some people, and that's the thing. I think he had more people involved in his head, but he's like, long story short, my fear is basically if you guys start construction or you demo, and then I'm stuck with a lot that has nothing. Like right now, I'm currently cash flowing. I really don't need to sell. He only has like $100,000 left on his mortgage, so it's like he really doesn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about trust, like Caroline said. You have to basically, like, I always ask the reason, like, well, do you feel like that's something that would happen? Do you not trust me enough? Because if you don't trust me, then we shouldn't even begin the process, right? Because of course that's not our intention. Our intention is to find a way that we can work together, and everybody gets what they need out of the deal, right? We need to fix it. We need to put a new property on there, a new build. That's how we benefit, and you benefit because we give you the price that you're looking for. It's just non-traditional, right? So you really have to get through that trust barrier and just ask questions like, hey, if you feel like that's a possibility, then maybe we shouldn't work together on this, right? Because we have to have full trust. We have to fully understand what we're each going to be doing on this type of transaction. So I would just ask questions like, what exactly do you feel like, that could happen? Of course, he understands you guys can run out of money, that kind of stuff. So for me, it just comes down to trust, right? How you talk to the seller, how you approach him. If you're unsure about his responses, like if you don't know how to answer them, then of course he's going to lose trust in exactly what it is that you're trying to do. So yeah, trust number one for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the end of the call, I feel like, he didn't get full trust. So whatever the fact, the other thing I was telling the student was like, I think he's a little wishy-washy just from his background stories and before he even got to that point. So
yeah,
and just a little background. He's like, he has a deal that he was working on with other investors on an app or something, and he's like, they're waiting for me. I'm like, dude, you're not ready. I don't think you're ready to make this decision that fast, but regardless, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, man, go through that. Just have confidence with it. And also, Pace just uploaded in the mentorship novation agreements and how to work them. So I don't know if you have the Kajabi app. If there are any sub-2 students on here, I go over this on the daily dial every day. But top right, this little blue thing right here, this is the Kajabi app. You guys can actually listen. If you are in the mentorship, you can listen to all of Pace's recorded seller calls. There's over 100 hours of it. Kelly Hanna, who actually runs all of this social media stuff for us, sat down and broke down those 100 hours and put the objections in there. You guys can listen to those phone calls, but I was listening to that novation agreement, actually, that Zoom the other day when Nick and I were setting up for the meetup on Wednesday. So I would check that out and listen to it. But really, tech, it's all about your confidence. And I've seen you come into the daily dial before. So just keep role playing. Keep, if you believe in it. If you believe in yourself, your sellers are going to believe in you. So go into your phone calls and hype yourself up. Like, play whatever anthem you need. Get yourself doing it. Like, man, I'm a money magnet. Money comes to me freely. Go through your affirmations, whatever you have to do, man. So, hey, thanks for coming up here. I appreciate that question.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Guys.
Great question, Tech. Okay, so look at this. Marcel's like, Tech is the man. All right, sweet. So let's go over here to Kimberly's question. And guys, if you saw that link I just threw up there, you can actually fill out, if you have a property, fill that out, and that'll go directly to Nick. And we'll go through that, and we can help you comp those properties and do those deals with you. So Kimberly said, and should we stay away from areas with an HOA? Correct. Now, Kimberly, that just depends. As long as you it depends on what your end goal is. If you're looking for cash flow, as long as the HOA is not going to ruin your cash flow, or it's not going to take away if the PITI is too much and your concessions, whatever's going on, it shouldn't be a problem. What would you say, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to stay away from HOA.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, like we want to own. And again, of course, there's like fees, there's restrictions, but we love owning houses in areas where there's HOA because those are good communities, right? People actually want to live in areas where there's HOA. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason to really stay away from them.
Perfect. Good question, Kimberly. All right, so here's one that Kelly threw up here for us. How to dispo seller finance deals and the way to fund them would be dope. All right, so I think Suheeb was on here last week. So actually, we are waiting for a seller finance deal to close that I actually locked up myself and that we disposed from here. It's in Florida. It's just been taking a while with title. So really, it just depends. If you need help finding buyers, of course, reach out to us and we'll help you find those buyers. But lots of people are looking for cash flowing properties. So this particular seller finance deal needed a little bit of work done to it. I would say I needed around $20,000 worth of reno, and we ended up, had the entry fee that made sense. So it really just has to be a deal where the numbers make sense. I think cash flow on that property was actually $750 a month for the rent rates in the area. Am I coming through here, Nick? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out like the first 30 seconds.
Oh no. All right. Well, you're frozen on my screen here. What I was trying to say, guys, is I'm coming through clear, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So with seller finance deals, the numbers just really need to make sense. So as long as your entry fee isn't too much. So with ours, there was the down payment to the seller, and then of course our assignment fee that was tacked on there. So really, as long as your numbers make sense and it's an enticing deal, you're probably not going to have a hard time selling it. But click on that link, that Shoreby link that I threw in there, and we can help you find buyers and walk you through the process. And that property was a great deal because it cash flowed $750 a month. So the investor that was getting in there was going to be making, almost $1,000 on this, and he had really little to do. It just needed a kind of basic cosmetic update to it. So I would say, talk to your cash buyers when you're talking to them. Ask them if they're looking, what's your relationship with your cash buyer? Are you only fix and flipping? Are you looking for buy and hold properties? And kind of explain to them what seller financing is. Make sure you can set them up with your contract, that you have a servicing company and servicing companies that you like to use, things like that. I hope that was a helpful answer. I think am I not frozen on your end, Nick? Because you're frozen on mine.
No, you're good.
Okay, good. Nick, do you have any other things that you would add into a seller finance deal on how we've disposed before?
No, I mean, that's basically it, right? You have to think about opportunity cost, right? We don't really dispo too many seller finance and sub 2 deals. We have started doing that a lot. But in the past, we've taken down most of our deals, but it's all about opportunity cost, right? If you have to spend $50,000 to get into a deal that cash flows $500, like think about the opportunity cost, right? There's no specific formula and like how much an entry fee is compared to like cash flow. It's just always opportunity cost. Like we'd much rather spend, instead of $50,000 for $500 a month, we'd much rather spend $25,000 for 2 deals that cash flow $500 a month each. Like that's more doable. So you just have to really have your framework of mind. Like if I were to buy this deal, would it make sense? Right? You can't dispo a deal that you wouldn't buy yourself. So you just have to think about opportunity costs on those. Exactly. As long as it's an enticing deal and the numbers make sense, the cash flow is there and the entry fee isn't outrageous, you shouldn't have a hard time selling that property. But if you're having a hard time, just find more buyers. So like Nick and I had a conversation because I'm still learning how to do all this dispo stuff. Excuse me, guys. Nick and I had a conversation and it was just like, what do you think went wrong with this deal here? And, just be upfront with it, guys. Not only should you be honest with your sellers, you should be honest with yourself. And I was like, he's like, did we just not have enough eyes on it? And I was like, we didn't have enough eyes on it. And I was feeling overwhelmed in a certain aspect. And it was just kind of a re-strategizing what we should do and how I should focus. So I just know like when we get deals and things and I can't get our buyers aren't interested, guess what? I need to go find more buyers. So if your buyer pool is too small and they're not interested in that deal, that's on me. Like I need to go find these buyers because we have people that are working off of commission base and I need to make sure that I can sell these deals for our team. So great question. I was just going to throw that in there. So we have another question here from AH, who's from Los Angeles. How long does it take to typically find an end buyer for a creative deal? Same thing, opportunity cost, and it just depends on that deal. It needs to be just what you said, a deal. We can't try and force a square peg to fit in a round hole. We can't, wish these deals to make sense. The numbers have to flow for our investors because we're investors and, sometimes we buy properties completely with cash. And then when it's a creative deal, it has to be something that's worthwhile. I'm sure you're going to have an easier time selling a deal in the middle of Atlanta than you would in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. It has to be enticing for them. Would you say anything else there, Nick? Yeah, I mean, it's a process, right? There's certain strategies that we use to find buyers on creative financing, and it's really just buy and hold investors that are used to traditional ways of buying. So those are exactly who we target on anything creative financing. People that typically get a loan, that type of thing. We talk to them about seller financing, the benefits of doing creative financing. But I would say it dispos in the same amount of time if you're doing it right? Most of our deals sell within 72 hours. That's typically the goal. Is if you can't sell a deal within 72 hours, either you're not getting the right buyers looking at it, or you're not working it enough. So yeah, I would say, typically within 15 days or so is our ideal turnaround time on any deal. Max.
Exactly. All right, so let's get into this next question here. Do mobile homes depreciate, Nick?
Anything depreciates, right? So it just depends on the market, where it's at. So yeah, I would say anything depreciates. Now, of course, there's the whole thing with mobile homes that are older than 1976 that are not financeable. Those ones automatically, like, there's less value in them. You can't really fix and flip them. It's typically just seller finance, at least for us and our business. Yeah, but a mobile home with land, right? A fixed mobile home is treated just as any other real estate. It's depreciates, that whole thing.
Great. And then here's one from Bill Ransom. How does a modular compare to a stick-built home? Are they valued the same? Can you kind of go into explaining what a modular is, Nick, and what is a stick-built home for people that might not know?
Yeah, so a modular is a home that was already prefabricated, something that was built and then transported to a lot and then set down and fixed, right? So that's what a modular home is, and a stick build is just your traditional single family residence that they actually build it on the lot, and it's a construction process rather than just taking something that's been prefabricated and just placing it on the lot. They're not valued the same in a sense that, again, it's comparing apples to a pineapple. You got to compare apples to apples. So if you're looking at your subject property is a modular home, you got to find modular homes within the area. Same applies for stick built. Single family residences, you got to compare them to single family residences. And you'll find certain areas too where it's blended. Like, I know we have areas here where it's like one side of the community is stick built, the other side is like modular mobile homes. So you just want to stay in the area where homes are alike. Great.
Thank you for answering that. I hope that was helpful, guys. Guys, I just want to know in the chat right now, can you tell me, are these lives helpful? Do you think we should, I know that we have some regulars that have been coming back. Should we continue doing this? Is this something, are these questions that we're answering helpful for you all? Please give me a yes or no in the chat here so I can make sure that we're providing value that's actually helpful to everybody. That's really what we want to do here. Great question right here from, oh, there you go. I clicked on the wrong one. But anyways, here's Mark. He's a sub 2 student and a TTP student that can help you guys. Jermaine said, is there a particular price range? Excuse me, I'm getting a phone call. Is there a particular price range that you guys avoid, too high or too low?
Yeah, I mean, if we're pulling data, we typically want to stay, I would say, under $600,000. Because you just find more distressed properties in those situations, right? When you get to the price point of 600,000 and above, $1 million properties, yes, you will find some distress, but it's harder to find, people that are willing to sell at discounts in those price ranges. That's only if we're pulling data, but if we're dispoing deals or we happen to come across a deal that's higher end, big numbers don't really scare us. It's just higher renovation costs, sometimes even higher profit if you can get it discounted, enough. So yeah, anything and everything. We typically don't do, I think the most we'll do is like 1.5 million on like a dispo or something that we're partnering with somebody. We've actually bought a couple properties in the $1 million price range. So yeah, I would definitely not avoid them, but focus on lower end properties.
Something I heard also from Pace is the median, you try and stay within the median range of your area, just because that's what the majority of the people are purchasing. So you won't have a hard time finding buyers, and it's just more feasible. That's just the way that he recommends. So try and stay within the median price range of whatever your market is. So great question there, Jermaine. Thank you. Guys, keep these questions coming. We still have about 25 minutes here. I want to, whoever can ask these best questions, we'll pull you up here and we'll pull your list live, or you can just request your list. So Gigawatt 666 said, should I stick with seller financing deals since I don't have much money and no credit, trying to grow my rental portfolio and I don't have much capital? Nick, what would you say here?
Yeah, I mean, all day long, right? I would always stick to, again, seller finance, creative finance, which includes seller finance and subject to. I would focus on those types of properties because there is no credit check, there's no background check, there's nothing like that. So there's no barrier to entry on those deals. And in terms of building your rental portfolio without having capital, we never use any of our own capital, right? We literally show you guys how to do deals without any capital because we use other people's money, right? We have private lenders that work with us and they trust us. So I would really focus on building up some private lenders, right? Do it simultaneously. You're talking to sellers, pitching seller finance. I would lock those deals up, and then as you're doing that, build up a pipeline with private lenders. That's the way that we do it.
Nick, how would you find your first private lender?
So a lot of it's just networking, right? If I were to start, I would reach out to family members and see if you can build it up that way, right? Not everybody has the means or family members that have the means to do that. So I would just network with people, right? Again, Facebook is extremely easy to network. So I would find people on Facebook and just connect, talk to as many people as possible, see what they're doing in their business. A lot of people don't want to actually get into the rental business because they don't want to manage rentals, right? But they have extra capital from their wholesale business. And they're just like, well, I'd rather just put my money to work, right? Because everybody knows, and it's such an easy sale, right? The only challenge is building trust and showing them what you're doing. But it's such an easy sale because most people set their money up with the bank and they don't make any money on that, right? So why wouldn't you just be my lender and you make 10% on your money? Like, that's an easy sale. So yeah, I would reach out to family members, people on Facebook, talk to other business owners, and just connect with wholesalers.
100%. And then also, Gigawatt, a majority of our business is wholesaling. So don't only just focus on your rental properties. I would continue, getting that wholesale hustle just so you have extra capital that'll help you. So put your money to work and then work and get more money for more deals. So great question. All right, let's roll into this next one here from GPS to Success. Do you prefer seller finance over a lease option? I would say seller finance all day. What do you say? I mean, it all just depends. What would you say, Nick?
Yeah, from my understanding, is this on the acquisition side? I would just assume it's on the acquisition side because a lot of people approach it that way. I would never acquire a property on a lease option, and here's why. We acquire properties on creative financing for not the cash flow, but the other benefits, right? If you have a wholesale business, which hopefully everybody in this live starts off with wholesale, or even if you don't, you're just focused on creative financing, which is what we do. You want to actually control the asset, right? By controlling the asset, you get benefits like tax depreciation, you get appreciation, you get the ability to raise the rent, which increases your cash flow. But the biggest benefit is really the tax depreciation that you can use to offset all the money you make in your wholesale business. You can't do anything like that with lease options, right? All you're doing is, yes, you're making cash flow, but you didn't control any real estate. Now, in terms of the dispo side, we typically try to do lease options on the dispo side because, of course, there's risks with doing seller financing because you're not going through the traditional underwriting process, and you might become risk of like doing predatory lending. So we typically just do lease options or standard rentals on the exit side.
100%. And then if we were to keep the property, well, you're not going to keep a lease option because you're selling it off. But remember, guys, with that seller finance, you get the tax depreciation. So over time, if you do the lease option, they end up executing that and they want to purchase it, you're no longer going to keep that as a tax depreciation. All right, so let's see here. There was another great question. So Sam Stevens, I think it's Stevens. I met at a meetup, I think a couple weeks ago, actually, before I got sick. So I think you're now sub-2 student too, Sam. So I think I've seen you in the Daily Dial. Actually, I know I have. But are you looking for a certain percentage return of entry amount versus cash flow, Nick?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on that a little bit. There's no real percentage that we use. It's mainly just opportunity cost in terms of if we put an entry fee into a deal, and let's say it's $50,000 and we're only cash flowing $500 a month, we'd much rather do two deals that cash flow $500 a month each, for $25,000 as our entry fee. So a lot of it really is just, opportunity costs and you just analyze the deal in terms of how much the entry fee is versus the cash flow, and it has to make sense for you, right? So yeah, that's there's no certain percentage.
100%. Yeah, great answer. And then this next one will roll with it perfectly. So Shane asked, what is it you mean by entry fee? What does it consist of? So for the seller finance deal that I was talking about, the entry fee was with our seller. It was 0% interest on the property, but we did $15,000 down. So $15,000 is in that entry fee. So that's going to go when it closes, $15,000 goes to the seller. And then we added on our assignment fee on top of that. So I believe our assignment fee on that was right around like $25,000, or our entry fee was $25,000. So we got a $10,000 assignment fee off of that particular deal. So that's what the entry fee can be. But I mean, it varies. That's on my seller finance. Entry fees can be if you're catching somebody up in the arrears. I mean, what am I missing here, Nick? Arrears.
Yeah, arrears. So typically it's arrears, closing costs to get into the deal, cash to the seller if there are any, renovation costs, and what was the other one? Cost of acquisition. So if you're getting this deal sent to you from another person, or even in our own internal business, we have acquisition people that are working these deals that have to get paid on these deals. So we always factor their commission into it. And of course, money for the company to replenish marketing costs. So we always include that into our entry fee. So those are really the 5 things that go into an entry fee.
There you go. Perfect. Oh, Donovan Richards on here. That's the man. I love Donovan. He's on the daily dial with me all the time. No good deal goes unfunded. Let's see here. Another great question by Sam. If a seller does a cash out refi in a sub 2 deal, will the cash they take from the refi ever get taxed?
So let's kind of explain what a cash out refinance is first. So cash out refinance is for somebody that has equity in their property. So of course they have equity. Now what they do when they refinance is they essentially pull out the equity and it's a new loan. So the money that they get, the cash that they pull out, that's not money earned, that's debt, right? It's debt. It's just like getting a cash advance on a credit card. It's still debt. It's not money gained. Therefore, you're not taxed on it. So yeah, it's a debt.
Perfect. Great answer there. So, and it's a loan. So it is tax free. Let's see. I had another question coming up here. So Chad Glover asked this. What's up, Nick and Caroline? I need a great answer from you two awesome people. Comps in the different way, the 70% method, the fix and flip formula, and the rental rate formula. So Chad, can you come up here? Let me send you an invite so you can ask us this question. So I'm going to put this invite in the chat here, guys. Anybody is welcome to click on this link I just put in the chat and you can come up on stage. But Chad, come up here so you can ask that question with a little more detail so I understand what you're saying. While you're clicking on that link and getting up here, let's listen to Jermaine. So when do your lawyers get paid? Before or after you find your qualified tenant buyer?
So I'm assuming you're in an attorney state where you have your attorneys do all of your title paperwork. So it's usually after close of escrow. Hopefully that's exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Okay. Ethan said that he sent a deal through the link and it said, please wait, and it never loads. So refresh your link there, Ethan, and let me know if that went through. Your information to Nick. And if it doesn't work, remember guys, you can text Nick. Let me find Nick's phone number for you guys. I'll throw it up here on the screen. So everybody, if you have not yet texted Nick, shoot Nick a text at 480-819-9295. We have about 15 minutes left here. I really want to see Chad, if you can get up here on the screen with us, or if you can type out your question again. Anybody's welcome to join us on the StreamYard link. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up Anna's question. Would an investor liquidating be a good seller financing option? He doesn't want to go through listing, but won't go super low either.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%. Go ahead, Caroline. You want to answer that?
Yeah, I was just going to say it all depends on your credibility with your seller. So as long as you seem credible, it's kind of like what we talked about with Tech when he was up on live with us. Anna, if you excuse me, guys, if you know how to pitch seller financing, I'd say go all the way in. And if you need help with that, you can submit through that link. Nick and I can help you with it. But I would say talk about the benefits of it. You know, you're upgrading them from a landlord to a lender. So he's still going to be getting passive income every month. He doesn't have to deal with the headaches. Think about this, guys. When we say you're upgraded from landlord to lender, think about where you have your mortgage for your own house from. If your roof has a leak, do you call Chase Bank and say, hey, my roof has a leak, I need you to come fix it? No, you take care of it yourself. And that's going to be you in that scenario. They're still getting it and they're not getting taxed on the property all up front. So there's so many benefits to purchasing a property creatively for your seller. Is there anything that I really missed there, Nick?
No, just to kind of add on to that, I 100% agree. You have to understand the seller and what they're looking to do. A lot of sellers, they'll build up their portfolio, and then when it's time to sell, they still get hit on the back end, with their capital gain. So we always pitch it as, hey, you have a tree stump, right? A lot of people cut off the tree and that's it. That's them selling their property and liquidating. But the way that we pitch it is, instead of cutting down the tree, why don't you just continue to pick off the fruits, right? And that's essentially doing a seller finance type of transaction where they're getting paid passively. They're not being taxed on capital gains. They're being taxed as ordinary income. So it's just, there's a ton of benefit. They don't have to manage it. They still get passive income.
Good stuff. And then guys, Kelly threw this up here for us. Guys, make sure you click on this link below. Last week we gave out these contracts, but if you need a wholesaling contract or an assignment contract, we will give these out to you for free. Pace and Cody's lawyer did this. They paid for this out of their own pocket. These are great contracts to use. The only thing you'll need to change in there is, I think it says Arizona, because our contracts are mainly for Arizona. Just change that state out. You're good to use this. I'm also not a lawyer, so don't quote me, but these are free contracts that we use. Great question here from John. So John Pham says, if you do sub 2, do you have to find your own home insurance, or are you taking over those payments also?
Yeah, so we keep the homeowner's insurance in place. We just get our own policy. So we get an additional policy, but we keep their insurance in place.
Good stuff. Awesome. Okay. And here's Anna. Anna added something. Anna, girl, hop up here on the live with us so we can talk to you about this deal. So she has another one right here. It says, right. One of his biggest things is he cash flows and is not super excited to sell, but he is retiring, so he's ready. He's not excited about the capital gains taxes either. So you've already got some pain points to talk about. And guys, at the end of the day, we want to have quality conversations with motivated sellers, but we're problem solvers. This isn't us coming out here with smoke and mirrors trying to trick somebody into selling their house. I mean, it's just not going to work that way. A quote that Pace says all the time when I listen in on Zooms and then through the mentorship, he just says, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You can't, change somebody's mind. So the deals that we do, we're having conversations with people that want to sell their house, that need to get out of this situation because of, maybe they inherited a house from their family member and it's a hoarder and they just don't even know where to begin. And it's here in Arizona, but they live all the way over in Maryland and they don't want to travel because of COVID. So what we actually do, we have all these resources. We can go through, we have moving crews. We can get it all taken care of. We can get all their junk sifted through if this is just a hypothetical situation. And we do a lot of stuff with probate attorneys. So be a problem solver in every aspect of this, and you will have so many good things come back to you. Karma is real, and we are all about doing the ethical right thing. We're not here to trick anybody. It's to have quality conversations with motivated sellers. So I hope that was helpful. Oh, she said, I would, but I'm rocking my baby to sleep. No problem. Awesome. I'm so glad these are helping you guys. I've seen all of your comments. Ooh, Holger's on here. Holger, bro, jump on this live with us. So Holger's a sub 2 student. And guys, if you're not a sub 2 student, you definitely need to try and get in. I know that Pace and Cody are really picky on who they allow in. I think they only allow in 10 people a week, but our daily dials are amazing. I've been watching Holger since we started the daily dials in December, and he is getting so much better on the phone. There's another one, Lynn Money, who was on this week, just freaking did a smoke show on our role plays. I cannot talk about how much I love role plays enough. I think the more practice and the repetition that you get in, you will be so much more confident and comfortable in front of your sellers. So I've talked about this before, and if you've been on my daily dials, I cover this as well. But the biggest thing, if you guys are new to real estate investing and you just don't really know what to do, the first thing you're doing, I want to say you're in the right place right now. Being on Pace's YouTube page is going to help you immensely. There's so much amazing free content on here. If you have not seen Pace's 16-hour live, I highly recommend you guys watch that and listen to it. I mean, those are the sales techniques that he's taught us. I actually had a couple that flew out from Virginia, came to our meetup on Wednesday, and I was telling them about that. They're like, where do I begin? So you guys are in the right place. You're on this YouTube live with us, which is incredible. So you're taking action. I just want to say, you're taking action coming on here and you're learning and you're just getting out there. Don't don't overcomplicate things. The next thing you need to do with your action is you need to be consistent with your action. And you guys are definitely, if you've been a regular and you've been coming onto the show, you're being consistent. So if you guys are cold calling or anything like that, stay consistent with it. Don't have shiny object syndrome. Don't get into, I'm going to cold call for today, and then tomorrow I'm going to go door knock, and then the next day I'm going to drive for dollars. Do 90 days of cold calling, and then maybe add 1 day a week in there where you're going to drive for dollars or whatever you'd like to do. But be consistent. That's where people fail in this business. If you're being consistent, you're going to see results. The next thing, you need to make mistakes. So the biggest way that you will learn is from your failures. Failing is your first attempt in learning. So if you fail, you're going to learn from it pretty quickly. And then the last thing is have a community. And like I said, this is for my daily dial. I've showed that in there. But I love our community in the private sub-2 Facebook group, but even in the creative financing group. If you guys have questions, Nick and I are in that group. Kelly Hano's in that group. There's a ton of sub-2 students in this group. We can help you. We are really all about giving back and helping where we can. So you guys are in the right place. I just wanted to mention that for you guys. If you need help with anything, this is why we go live to do this. Sadly, there is no daily dial for the non-students, but we do it at 5 a.m. every day, and you guys should definitely take the opportunity to talk to an onboarder for the sub-2 mentorship. I mean, it's a lifetime mentorship, and you get to learn from, I think, the best and most giving person is Pace Morby. Nick was on the Zoom with him last night, so we're starting to reach out with realtors. Pace went out of his own pocket and paid for a $10,000 list of nationwide realtors and gave it to the students. So that's not value. I don't know what else is. And just Pace has always been around to answer questions for Nick and myself. Cody helps out all the time. And it's really cool getting to learn from Matt Beard as well. Matt Beard is not part of the mentorship, but Matt Beard started up VA Hub with Pace and Cody, and just hearing from him is awesome. So it's just awesome to hear about all of this. Where is the 16-hour live? That is in Pace's YouTube. I'm not exactly sure what channel or what video it is in particular, but find that and you can hear all those things. Awesome. So let's see here. Yeah, see, role playing is crucial. It's been the biggest help for me. I could see myself on the phones. I improved night and day. So you definitely should all try and role play here. Sweet. All right, guys. So I'm not seeing any more questions really. I guess everybody's having a good time. I see Zachary Hamilton. I don't know, Zach, are you the one that worked with me at Pizza Hut? If this is the same Zach, this is crazy. Small world, man. No problem with being late. Nick, am I missing anything? Are there any questions that we should, cover for people? What are some things that have helped you when you got started investing on your own, or investing with Pace and Cody, I guess, really?
Just being receptive, right? You often, like a lot of people that get into wholesaling, they maybe come from a sales background. You have bad habits, you have good habits, things that you want to change. So when you find somebody that you can actually cling onto and absorb, and that person is somebody who's actually doing the business, they're consistent, they continuously elevate themselves and people around them. Those are people that you want to be around because you just really soak up their information. So you have to be receptive to learning. You have to be receptive to changing your ways. And you just have to be moldable.
Perfect. I'm just replying to Zach. Zach and I work together at Pizza Hut. Cool. So Facebook user, make sure that you were hitting up the StreamYard link here. Oh, it's Clemente. There you go. Don't hesitate to reach out. Sweet. Nick, what are some things? I know that you're an avid reader. Nick's helped me out with some reading. If there is one book that you could recommend to really work on your confidence and make, that has helped you kind of overcome objections with sellers, or really just help your confidence in general, what would you recommend to everybody here?
I would say any book by Sandler. So there's one, I think it's called the 48 Sandler Rules, something like that. That one's been a really good book because you understand the sales process and sales psychology. Not that, eager beaver sales psychology where you're just trying to get the deal. You don't care about the person. So you have to, those books teach you how to become an avid listener, which is what you have to be. You have to listen to people, and you have to understand, knowing the foundation, which is which tool to pull out of your tool belt at the right time. Creative financing, I can help them list it. I can do wholesale, whatever, innovation. You have to understand what the needs are of the person you're talking to, which is your prospect, and you have to present the right opportunity to them. So I would say anything by Sandler. And then also, if you're trying to scale your business and build your business up, delegate stuff, I just finished reading Who Not How. That's a phenomenal book that teaches you how to delegate and how to actually bring the right people into your business.
Perfect. I love it. And, you know, I think Value Vegan has asked the most questions today. So I think we're going to pull a list for Value Vegan. But let's answer this last question before I pull a list off of BatchLeads. If you could choose to buy a first-time place, is it a good idea to take on a rental property, duplex, or something profitable? So Value Vegan, you know, I'm actually going to send you this link. If you can come on live with us, that'd be awesome. If not, I want you to give us a little bit more detail here. Are you talking about like this is your first time, your first home, your first purchase that you're going to make on your own? Or what kind of, do you understand the question any differently than me, Nick? What would you say here?
I mean, anything can be profitable. I would say your first property should be on creative financing. To really understand creative financing, if you're looking for a long-term income, right, structure something on seller finance, subject to just really anything profitable. It doesn't have to be anything that's a duplex, just something that cash flows.
Got it. And Nick, was that book called Who Not How?
Yeah, Who Not How. Here, I'll post the other one for you.
There you go. So Nick's going to put it in the chat for everybody. So Value Vegan, I'd love to know your real name, and I'm going to pull up BatchLeads so everybody can follow along and see how we pull lists out of here. Get this to load. Here we go. I'm in. So Value Vegan, I just want to know what area you'd like a list pulled from. There we go. We got somebody up here. We got Valerie wants to pop up. I'll take you, Valerie, since you're up here. What you got, Valerie? What's going on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How's it going?
Perfect. It's going good. How are you?
Good, good. What you got?
So basically, I'm in the process of buying I can rent to own something, but I can kind of pick anything. I can pick a duplex. I can pick a single family. So I just kind of want to pick the best thing. And if I can make it a profitable thing for me, then I'd rather choose that than make it something that's coming out of my pocket every month.
I would definitely, this is something that I've been thinking about because I actually was in the military for a bit, so I can get a VA loan. I would be going for, if it were me, probably a duplex just so I can have the other person paying the mortgage for me and I'd be living basically rent-free. That's what I would recommend. Nick, I know that you've been talking about buying a rental property yourself. This is something we've been, covering. What would you say for Valerie's question? And Valerie, I just want to make sure your YouTube name is Value Vegan.
It is.
Perfect. So I can pull your list here while Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, so go ahead, Valerie. Ask that question. Actually, first, Valerie, where would you like a list pulled?
Virginia.
Virginia. All right. Ask that question again while I pull this up so Nick can hear you.
So my question would be, what would be your first time, thing to purchase, whether it be a duplex or something profitable? Like if you're going into buying something for your first time.
Yeah, I would go for, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer for that, right? But for me, I'm looking for a single family property, ideally under $300,000 ARV, something with, maybe seller financing that has a low interest rate. It doesn't necessarily have to have equity. It could be, zero equity type of deal, but just something that cash flows at least $400 or $500 a month is really what I'm looking for.
Valerie, I apologize.
Yeah, and of course, a nice B or C community.
Yeah, Valerie, I apologize. I'm ADD. Where did you want your list pulled?
Virginia. It's all right. I got ADHD, so.
What area in Virginia would you like? Richmond?
Yeah, let's do Richmond.
I'm just saying that's the main area I know. I was stationed right over in Fort Lee. Richmond, Richard.
I live in Buckingham currently, and there's a lot of land out here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of vacant land, but I could call them all day, but I just don't know where to go with them or what to do with them.
Gotcha. Okay. So what I'm going to do, guys, now I'm on BatchLeads, so you guys can see I'm on batchleads.io. This is what we use to pull lists. So I just typed in Richmond, Virginia right here. I'm going through my filter. So I've selected absentee out of state. I'm going to go down, and you guys can pull lists differently. It's all kind of like pulleys and levers. If you guys are on one of our other, it might have been either last week's or the week before, how we talked about kind of creative financing. And the cool thing about creative financing is you can kind of, shift levers. So if you're going to give a higher down payment to a seller, then this is going to change my monthly payment to you. So the same thing here. We can fluctuate with what we do on the equity on what they own it. So let's go to equity. Let's try and do 40% on equity. Let's see. What else? Anything else I should really put in here, Nick?
No, I think that's a good list.
It's a good list. So we have 118,000 to get started. Let's see how this breaks it down.
All right.
And our internet's acting up here a little bit. I'll see if this pulls. While that's pulling, Valerie, what I'd like you to do, if you can private message me your email. There we go. So we went down to 2,000. So I'm going to pull 1,000 of these for you. If you can private message me your email, we will get these sent out to you once it is completely done.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me figure out how to send you a private message. 'Cause
Ah.
I went into that separate link and I'm not on a computer.
Okay, no worries. Well, let's see. Are you on the creative financing page?
I am. I'm also in sub 2.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, just shoot me a message and I'll get this sent over to you.
All right, cool.
Perfect. Okay, great. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and let's see. Valerie, do you have any other questions before we wrap this up?
I can't think of anything right now.
Well, hey, I appreciate you coming up here and asking all these questions. You've been super valuable today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, see you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Cool. All right, Nick. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this up, guys. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I hope this has been a beneficial Friday Live with Nick and myself. Again, Nick is in charge of the JV department. I am dispoing deals for Pace and Cody. So if you guys need help finding a buyer, make sure you click on that link. And inside the the description below, you can see our Instagram handles, and it's on our names right here. So mine is Carol the Ginger. I'm super professional. I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna change my name. Anyways, and that's Nick R. Newling. You guys can follow us. If you're out here in Phoenix is it the second Wednesday of the month, Nick?
Yeah, second Wednesday.
Second Wednesday of the month, we do meetups and we go through our fix and flip properties. We actually bought a property from a sub 2 student 2 meetups ago. This most recent one was a VA cold called it, got it set up for us, and one of our acquisition managers locked up the deal. We're a week away from it being completed. Cody showed up. Pace is usually there. So if you guys want to come out and meet with us, network with us, ask us questions, there are all kinds of opportunities. Don't forget, on Sunday service, you're going to have Pace and Cody will be there. And then on Monday, you can go to the wholesale hotline. Yesterday, Matt Beard was live answering questions about VAs. And I cannot talk enough about how great the VAs from VA Hub are. Our VA, I was sick all of last week, and our VA was still pumping away. He was comping properties for us. He was texting some of our sellers. I mean, our VAs lock up deals from start to finish. So if you guys need help with anything, we'd be more than happy to help you guys. I hope this is beneficial. We'll see you guys next Friday at noon. Make sure you like and subscribe and share us with your friends. Bye, guys.
See you guys.